Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So we've got the next community pool spend proposal up, and something that I'm seeing alongside all of this in a consistent kind of question that keeps getting put forward is what happened to the paid per job. And I'm going to aim to sort of shut all of that down in this video. And honestly, we've spoken about this a few times. If you haven't listened to the last two podcasts we've done on the channel here, go back, listen to them. You can get a real in-depth analysis as to the complexities and all of the issues that actually surround the paid per job. So with all of this being said, right, this community pool spend is up. I'm not going to be going through it in this video. I have to do another video for that. I've got a completely different focus for this video, which is to simply say to everybody, the best way to describe the main issue with the paid per job is it's far too complex for this blockchain, for its community, and for all of the different factions that are involved in this blockchain. It's far too complex. And it really just boils down to that simple line there. As much as people want to come out with all of these overcomplicated explanations and different bullet points, it's just too complex for us right now. We're not of one unified mind. There's absolutely no, with a system like this, there's no responsibilities from the community. Everything goes down to more or less the person who is the keeper, so to speak, of the repository where all of the code's being merged to. It's just, there's just too much. It's just far too much. So like I said, a lot of people are saying, you know, what happened to this paid per job governance rule list? This is what we voted for. Why aren't we following this? The simple fact is paid per job governance rule job list, it's not something that's there. You've got to build it, you've got to develop it, and you've got to figure out a way to interweave it into the system and ensure that everybody can use it in a fair and a very straightforward fashion, so to speak. And like I said, this sort of system, it's very complicated. Now, we've already seen genuine labs go back to the rudimentary means of asking for money. And honestly, that's the only route here. And that's what obviously the L1 task force has done this time. So let's take a quick look over at Warp Protocol. If you don't know what Warp Protocol is a very similar kind of paid per job system that already exists. And as you can see from this illustration they've got up, it's very complex the way it works, the way it comes back for the keeper, and it checks different things. I'm going to be leaving links to all of this in the description for everybody to go out and have a look at the different complexities of different concepts of how these other kind of systems work. And the simple fact is, like I said, we're just not ready for this kind of system. And honestly, it's not the only people that are really suddenly pushing for this are the bad actors saying, oh, you know, what happened to paid per job? Well, what happened to this? And for them, what they want to see is a system put in place where they can merge any code they want and they're not responsible for it. And that works out fine for them, and you can understand why. Now, there's a few different issues with this realistically. And some of the issues underlying are defining a job that is very big, so to speak. It's complicated to say the least to a small job, but doing a huge job with lots of in and outs where you require server rent, different kind of packages you may have to pay for during that time of doing that job. The likelihood is it's not all going to be factored in. You're also going to have lots of people just disagree simply on what a job is, the complexity of the job, the ins and outs. Should they be paid for this? Should they be paid? It's just when we'd spend like a year trying to get a job together as a community, and you can understand that it's just not going to work. And then what realistically determines the job being done successfully? And at the end of all of it, it just becomes one kind of weird gatekeeping system that's just not going to work because we don't have any gatekeepers. No one is the official representative of this chain. Anybody who says they are is lying, unless they've somehow acquired this whole blockchain behind everybody's back. Nobody is an official representative of this blockchain. And these are all of the different issues that come into play with different systems like this, where they're just so complex. Now, with labor market on the horizon, the likelihood is we should probably just wait for something like that and see if we can implement it, use it, and utilize it. But moving forward, going back to the rudimentary kind of caveman style of posting a job through the way we always have is the only way. The only thing you can tweak right now is the way that somebody's being paid. Are they getting paid at the beginning? Are they getting paid at the end? So there are going to be a lot of different people who are going to keep saying, what happened to this pay per job? What happened to this pay per job? And it just simply is all too complicated. There's too much risk on those who would have to maintain such a system, because as you can see here in this diagram, everything requires a keeper. Everything requires an actual human being to be on the other side of this thing, approving, checking. Oh, that's not done. No, sorry, we can't pay you. It's not something that you can automate. It'd be very dangerous if you did. And this is how blockchains become hacked and rugged. And people are out there. These people exist. They're buried everywhere. And there's so many different ways that you can penetrate a blockchain to get funding out of it. And these are all of the different issues. I personally think everybody should go back and listen to the 2 podcasts that we've done recently, because it really goes over it from a developer's perspective. And you can just hear in their voices and the way that they're speaking that it's just not going to work, and it's way too complex. And at this point in time, I think everybody just needs to say to themselves, it was a great idea, but we're far too complex as a community. As a blockchain, there's too many different factions. There's too many different moving parts there. Everybody would be accusing everybody of gatekeeping, and it's just something we're not able to do. The boat's not big enough, okay? And the harbor is far too small to accommodate us. It's all not going to work out. So my perspective moving forward is just to hope for the best and hope that going back to these rudimentary means you kind of get some work done. But this is what it all falls down to when I keep saying to everybody, this whole idea of being united, unified and moving forward. Every time you try to do something like this in the community, you're thrown under the bus. And we've seen this happen with LBA. We've seen it happen with Tobias. And these are all people that tried to get everybody to work together. And then they just become the victim of being thrown under the bus by all of the different people that they helped. And this is why I say it's all too far complicated, because everybody's just trying to one up everybody. Everybody's trying to outsmart everybody. Everybody's trying to come up with the next best tweet or to outsmart someone in a tweet off. This is what it's brewed down to. And then when people start saying to themselves, well, what happened to the paper job? And it's just like, look at the state of the community, look at the state of the blockchain. Look at all of the different groups that are working. It's never going to work. Never, ever, ever going to work from my perspective, unless you were to take a copy of Warp Protocol, rework it and fashion it into the system and sort of explain to people how it works. It's just not going to work. The fact that the majority of the work that needs doing is bulk amounts of work, and it's not, once again, the job just becomes far too big. And then once again, you need to pay the keepers for everything. So you have to have someone that you're paying, a centralized entity that goes through and checks all of these things. Even if they're centralized entities that are approved through governance, which was the original idea, you're still going to need centralized entities there that are paid to simply write out jobs, fulfill jobs, do all of the different things behind the scenes to keep a system like this running. So it's frustrating for me, to say the least, because having a system like this was probably one of the best ways to move forward. And I think an even bigger underlying issue is the more you simplify this process, the worse the system gets, the harder it becomes to do things. And it's not always as easy as it seems. And I've been watching and I've been sort of like, pitching ideas in on this and having my say. But ultimately, that where I'm at right now is where these developers are at. And it's just not going to work. And there's nothing more that we can say, we can explain, we can show people. It's just the community, it's the conditions of the community, it's all of the different factions, it's all of the different directions that people want to go in, and people want to do EVM, some people want to burn everything, and some of us want to get access to all different tools. You can see all of the different divides. There's all people throwing each other under the bus, and it's crazy out there, to say the least. So this is just simply why this is never going to work. And it is sad, but ultimately we have to take these things on the chin. We have to pick ourselves up, and we just have to keep moving, keep developing, and keep pushing forward, because otherwise we're just going to get caught up in the past. we'll keep lulling and sulking over this sort of pay per job system, and everybody keeps saying the same, where's the pay per job, where's the pay per job? Here's the pay per job, here's the explanation. Can we move forward now? Folks, drop a like, drop a comment, sub if you haven't already. Those things do help the algorithm. It helps other people find the channel, and it helps me continue to create these videos for you. Other than that, folks, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.